Okay, so in the last class we understood design analysis of algorithm and on which criteria basis we are evaluating our different algorithms for similar kind of problem, right? So we have time complexity one of the criteria and space complexity other one, right? So in the last class we understood basic understanding of asymptotic notations used for denoting complexities, time complexity of any algorithm, right? So asymptotic notations are nothing more than a simple mathematical representation of your time complexity of an algorithm, right? So we have three categories over there: big O, big omega, and big theta. That we understood in the last class, that our big O notation defines or signify worst case of an algorithm or upper bound for an algorithm, right? And in the same way, big omega represents best case of an algorithm, or we can say lower bound of an algorithm, right? In the same way, big theta represents average case of algorithm. Okay, so now let us go one by one, understand one by one that how these these all cases works mathematically, right? So first one, we have our notation o big O, which is represented by big O. So as we already told you that it is it will signify upper bound, or we can say at most case of, or worst case of an algorithm. So when we are saying that this big O notation will show upper bound of an algorithm, what it means we can understand it by, let us say we have one function, one base function like that. Let's say this is our original function on which we are for which we are going to define an another function which represents upper bound for this function. So in the x-axis there will be n. N is what? Number of input we are giving to the algorithm, right? N is nothing, it is a number of input we are going to give to our algorithm, right? And y-axis will represent the time taken by that algorithm at the time of evaluation, right? So x-axis represent number of inputs and y-axis represent time taken by that algorithm. And in this graph, if you are seeing that uh, as our number of inputs are increasing, our time taken by that algorithm or this function is improving on the basis of number of input, right? So we have to prove here in case of big O, we need to prove that there is some other function which will upper bound our algorithm performance, right? So this graph is representing our performance of algorithm, right? So this is the basic function, right? So now let us say we have other, if we have other functions such that, like this will be denoted by c dot gn. Gn is second function which will upper bound our working algorithm, right? If this is the case, that means this cgn, this if I am saying that gn is bounding or capping upper bound on our existing function, then what will be the true case? This will be the true case, that cgn will be always greater than basic function fn, right? So we can say that if we are talking about big O notation, in that case fn should be less than equals to c dot gn. Here c is a constant. So we need to prove that for n should be greater than n0, and n0 is our first input, minimal input. N0 represent minimal input. See, you cannot evaluate any algorithm without any input, right? So definitely there will be at least one input will be there for evaluation. So this n0 represents that case only. So in that case, if we want to see in the graph that if we have minimum input of n0, in that case we can say that after this region, after n0, cn will be greater than fn. Right guys, that's what we are going to prove, right? So c and n will be c and n will be our real numbers, right? Okay. And c will be always 0, sorry, c will be always greater than 0, sorry. And n0 will be greater than equals to 1. It could be 1 because 1 is the minimum unit of input we can have in any algorithm, right? So n0 could be 1, 2, 3, anything, after which we can see the performance of these two functions, right? What I mean to say here is n0 should be greater than or equal to 1 because 1 is the minimum limit. So it could be 1 minimum, and it could be 2 also. It depends on the function to function, right? But we have in big O case, our another function should always be greater than our initial function, right? Our basic function. So to prove that, let us take an example. Let's we say if we want to prove that function n equals is O times gn. For that only we are going to prove, right? If we are saying that our new function gn is upper bound for function fn, then we can say that fn is, we can denote this fn like this: fn equals to o big O gn. That means fn is oth order of gn, right? So let us take an example, then only you will understand it. Otherwise mathematically you will say that I am not getting, sir. Okay, so let's say we have function. Let us our algorithm is performing on this function. Our base algorithm function of our algorithm is fn is equals to 3n plus 2. And let us we assumed other function which we are going to use for upper bounding our this function is gn equals to n. Let's say, let us take an example that fn is this, and we assume gn as equals to n. Now can we say that fn is big O order of gn? Let us check. Okay, now for writing this function like this in the big O notation, if we want to write this, we need to check the conditions for big O. And for big O we have condition fn should be less than equals to c dot gn, right? So where this is the condition we have for big O notation, so we need to check this only. For c c is greater than 0 and n0 is greater than 1, let's say. Now put your values in this. Our fn is 3n plus 2 should be less than equals to c, and gn is our n. See here, see here, gn is our n, which we assumed, right? Now we need to check this algorithm, or put different values for n and find out the proper value for this cn, right? So now if you see that this is a linear equation which is having single input n, variable input n. So if you see here in these two equation, what should be the value of c which can satisfy this relation, right? So see here the dominating term in this equation is 3n. This is constant. For every nth value this 2 will be remains 2. So definitely the highest order of this left hand side is nth, that is n. So all the value of this relation will depends on the value of n, right guys? So if you want your this value to be greater than 3n, then there will be the least value should be will be 3 or 4, right? Let us take example 3. If we are putting 3, we are using 3 for in place of c, then we will get 3n. But in the left hand side we are having 3n plus 2, that definitely 3n plus 2 will be greater than 3n. So we cannot take c value as 3, so it will be rejected, right? But if we take 4, it will be satisfied. How? Whatever the cn value will be there, 3n will always be less than 3n plus 2 will be always be less than 4n, right? If we put 4 here, then definitely 3n plus 2 will be less than equals to 2, less than equals to 4n, right guys? So what we found, that minimum value of c would be 4. It could be 5 also, it could be 6. For all the values above 4, it will satisfy this relation, right? Until unless your n is less than 2, right? Because if it is greater than 2, it will not impact on very much on this relation. But if it is less than 2, it will remains close to 3n, right? So from here what we will found, that c value of c should be 4. We can take 5 also, we can take 6 also, but in the case of big O, we need to know the least or at most value, least possible upper bound. We can write here least possible upper bound. We are talking about least possible upper bound. That's why we considered 4 as a value of c. 4 let me 4 as a value of c. Now we got the value of c as a 4. That means for the above assumed function, if we want to say that fn is big O of gn, c value constant value for the gn should be 4. Now what about value of n? If you see, for all the value of n greater than 2, this relation will holds true, right? You can check. If you put 1 here, n equals to 1, then you can check 3n plus 2 should be less than 4n. If n is 1, then what will be the value? 3n means 3 plus 2 less than equals to 4, right? So it doesn't hold true, right? Right guys? So less than, now take 2, now take n as 2. 3 into 2 plus 2 should be less than equals to 4 into 2. So 6 plus 2, 8 equals to 8. So now in the case of n equals to 2, it is satisfying our relation, right? It is satisfying this equation. Right, now got my point guys? So for the value of and even if you take 3, you can check this, for 3 also, this equation will hold true. LHS will be less than equals to RHS for every value greater than 2 and equals to 2, but for 1 it is not showing this truthness. So we can say from here that n0 should be, in this case, in this example, n0 should be 2 or greater than 2, sorry, greater than 2. That means for minimal input, minimal number of elements input, the n0 should be greater than or equals to 2 in this case. In this case, if we want to say that fn is the big O of Gn, right? Right guys? So if for even if let's say in this case you assumed fn, gn as n. If you replace gn by its square, it will also holds true. That means at least for value of n greater than 2, it will remains satisfied, right? Right, what it means that for every value of n, the gn, our gn will always will be greater than our fn. But before that, before this n0 equals to 2, we cannot say that fn should be always be a big O of gn, because in this case you can see here fn is greater than your gn. So we need to find out the minimum number of steps we need to satisfy these assumed functions to be true for big O notation, right guys? So in what we mean to say that if this is the case, we can say here that fn is big O of another function gn, big O of another function gn for n should n equals to or greater than 2 and c c value for 4. So if these two are the case, then we can say that fn is oth order of function gn. That's what we want to prove. So in the case of practical assumption, when we are saying, we are assuming that this is the big O of gn, what it means to say that gn will satisfy all the values which are higher than function n, for all the values of function n at max. What it means that for any algorithm, this function will tell the upper bound for that particular algorithm, right? So it will showing you the least possible upper bound. Here the least possible upper bound means we will consider only that upper bound which is nearest to our function fn upper bound, right? Fn value. That's why we are talking about worst case of an algorithm. So any function which is defining the worst case of an algorithm is simply the statement that this algorithm will take this much time in all possible worst cases. That means this is the highest time it can take on nth number of inputs. So this chart is representing the relation between number of inputs given to the algorithm and time complexity we have for that particular algorithm. So let us say we have original function, our algorithm original function is fn. So we need to find a function which is which try to upper bound this function such that that will be the worst case of that algorithm. So in the practical word, we will say to our customer that this function is upper bound by this function, this rule. So our algorithm is going to use this function at the worst case. That means that will be the highest possible time complexity for our algorithm. So on the basis of this criteria, worst case criteria, we can say that our algorithm is good one, best one, or worst one, like that, right? So this is the practical proof that if in case we are showing that this what will be the upper bound for this will totally be a mathematical representation of upper bound for any algorithm. So for being an upper bound or big O notation of any function, you need to know that that function should be greater than your original function, right? So here we proved by example. Let us take an example. Let us say our fn is, let us say our fn is example. Let us say our function, algorithmic function is, we have is 2n square plus n, let us say, and we need to find gn. We need to find gn, which we need to find. And what should be gn here? Then you simply can see in the LHS that the dominating term in this equation is n square, right? So definitely if you are going to prove the big O notation, definitely you are going to put it into like this, in the equation of this fn should be less than less than equals to c dot gn. If you want to notify it by big O notation, big O notation, right? So if you want to prove that, obviously you need to put your function as 2n square plus n should be less than equals to c dot gn, and we need to find gn. So to find gn, the basic assumption we will use, we will take most dominating term in LHS, most dominating term of fn, we can say, or LHS, or we can say LHS, which is present here. So if you see this, the most dominating term, the value of this equation result will be dominated by our this term only. The most impact of on the result of this equation will be using this order, right? Highest order of that equation. So we have highest order of that equation is n square. So we can take gn as n square. After that we can find the value of c here for this equation and the value of n. So let us take example 2n square plus n should be less than equals to c dot n square, right? Same equation is there, and we just replaced gn with n square by knowing the dominating term in the LHS, right? Now we need to find the value of c for this. So What should be the value of C here? C
3. 3.
3. Okay, you can see that what should be the value of C. You cannot take 2, because if you take C value as a 2, then it will not be less than equals to 3n square, right? 2n square, right? So definitely we are summing up n also here. That means we will start with at least 3. Now check for 3. If we use 2n square plus n should be less than 3n square, then it will be the case, it will there is a possibility that this will be the true, this will hold true. Now this is the least one. We can take 4 also, we can take 5 also. For those all it will satisfy the equation, but we will consider only 3, because this is the least possible upper bound we have with us. Upper bound we have with us. For less than 3 it will not work, right? So now come to the value of n. Now find the value of n here. What should be the minimum value of n for satisfying this equation? So now number of we want to take the we want to find the minimum number of input for your algorithm. For those this relation holds true, right? So now put n value one by one. Let's say for n equals to 1, it will be 2 plus 1 should be less than equals to 3. Yes, for n equals to 1 it holds true. N equals to 1 it holds true, right? Okay, now for n equals to 2, 4 8 plus 2 should be less than equals to 12. Yes, it is holding true. So for n equals to 2 it's also holding true. That what that means, that minimum for single input variables, for single input we are satisfying this equation, right? So from here we can find, we can say we found that n0 should be greater than equals to, oh sorry, 1, and C should be greater than equals to 3. From here we found that, right? Now we can say, now we can say now we can say for function, for original function fn equals to 2n square plus n, and our assumed function gn equals to n square. We can say that fn is big O order of gn for only n0 should be greater than 1 and c should be greater than 3. For those values, for those constant only, we can say if you are having minimum number of one input and c constant value of 3, we can say that fn is the bigth order of our assumed function gn. So that's what we want to know. We want to find this gn and c value. We want to find a function for a defined function for algorithm which is fn. For function fn we want to define, or we want to find a new function such that which will upper bound our basic function in hand. And our basic function in hand is fn, which is our algorithmic function, and we need to find a function which upper bound our this basic function. That means we are finding the worst case function for our algorithm. Once it is found, then on on that function basis we can say that this algorithm is taking this much worst time scenario, this much worst time on given such inputs, which is our n. and here for the second example our n value should be greater than equals to 1. Right guys, so this is how we can say that this algorithm, this GN will present the worst case scenario or upper least possible upper bound for our original function of that particular algorithm, and which will define that this for this much number of inputs we can have maximum or worst case time complexity of that particular algorithm defined by that particular GN, right? So this is all about big O. I think you got my point, you understood it very well. Now you need to understand how it is working, and by example we understood it very clearly, and I think it is clear to you guys. That's all for today. Thanks.